Why your brain craves chaos. Freud's death drive theory explains modern self-sabotage. The goal of all life is death. Sigmund Freud, Beyond the Pleasure Principle. We live in a world obsessed with self-improvement, a cult of optimization that promises to hack your way to perfection. Productivity gurus preach 5 a.m. routines and bullet journaling. Meditation apps like Headspace and Calm sell serenity in 10-minute daily doses. LinkedIn influencers peddle 7-step formulas to unlock your potential, while Silicon Valley CEOs boast about biohacking their bodies into immortal, caffeine-powered machines. The message is clear. With enough discipline, your life can be frictionless, a gleaming algorithm of success. But if that's true, why do we keep sabotaging ourselves? Why, after downloading the latest habit tracking app, do we binge Netflix until 3 a.m.? Why, amid a peaceful evening, do we pick fights with loved ones over text threads? Why, facing a crucial deadline, do we fall into Wikipedia rabbit holes about Victorian spoon collections or the mating habits of seahorses? We're told these are failures, lapses in willpower, moral shortcomings. But Sigmund Freud, the father of psychoanalysis, proposed a darker, more compelling truth. We do these things because part of us wants to burn it all down. Freud called this impulse the death drive, thanatos, a primal, unconscious force that compels us toward chaos, destruction, and self-undoing. In his 1920 essay, Beyond the Pleasure Principle, he shattered his own earlier theory that humans are governed solely by the pursuit of pleasure. After World War I, Freud studied soldiers tormented by recurring nightmares of the trenches. These men weren't avoiding pain, they were recreating it. Trauma survivors often repeat their worst experiences mentally, physically, or emotionally. Why? Freud concluded that beneath our conscious desires for love, success, and safety, there's a biological mandate to return to stillness, to revert to the inert, inorganic state that preceded life itself. The goal of all life is death, he wrote. This isn't metaphor. Modern neuroscience reveals how addiction to chaos is etched into our biology. Stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline are chemically addictive. Chronic stress rewires the brain to crave the turmoil it's grown accustomed to, which is why so many self-sabotage when life gets calm. Ever met someone who thrives in crisis but crumbles in peace? Or felt a perverse thrill in watching your own plans implode? That's the death drive whispering, dismantle the order, return to chaos. Our digital age weaponizes this impulse. TikTok's algorithm feeds us rage bait and doom scroll. Dating apps thrive on situationships, relationships kept intentionally unstable to avoid the terror of real intimacy. Even productivity culture is complicit. Hustle porn glorifies burnout as a badge of honor, masking self-destruction as ambition. We're trapped in a loop, chasing optimization while craving oblivion. But here's Freud's twist. The death drive isn't just destructive, it's generative. Think of wildfires that ravage forests but seed new growth, or the way a sculptor destroys a block of marble to reveal a statue. Procrastination isn't mere laziness, it's a pressure cooker for last-minute brilliance. A heated argument isn't just toxic, it's a desperate bid to feel alive when numbness sets in. Even addiction follows this pattern. The alcoholic doesn't drink for pleasure. They drink to annihilate the self, hoping to emerge reborn. So how do we redirect this primal energy? Freud's answer was sublimation, channeling destructive urges into socially acceptable forms. For him, this meant art, science, or philosophy. But let's get practical. Embrace productive chaos. Schedule time to indulge the urge safely. Write a rage-fueled poem. Smash old thrift store plates. Sprint until your lungs burn. Let the drive exhaust itself in a controlled blaze. Reframe procrastination. Use the panic focus method. When deadlines loom, set a timer for 10 minutes and vomit every half-formed idea onto the page. Chaos becomes momentum. Interrogate the impulse. When you feel the pull towards self-sabotage, ask, what void am I trying to fill? Boredom, control, feeling something, anything. History's greatest creators mastered this alchemy. Frida Kahlo transformed physical agony into surreal masterpieces. David Bowie weaponized his self-destructive impulses to reinvent music. Even Einstein's theory of relativity emerged from his obsession with chaos, playing thought experiments with runaway trains and light beams. The death drive isn't a flaw. It's a fossil of our evolution, a reminder that life emerged from chaos and depends on it. Your brain doesn't just tolerate chaos, it hungers for it. The question isn't how to eliminate the void, but how to dance with it. To borrow Freud's own words, one day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. So the next time you're lured into a midnight Netflix spiral or a pointless argument, pause. Ask, is this chaos consuming me, or can I consume it? The answer might just rewrite your life. Freud introduced the death drive, or thanatos, in 1920, and even his disciples thought he'd lost his mind. After all, his earlier work focused on the pleasure principle, the idea that humans seek gratification and avoid pain. But after World War I, Freud watched soldiers return from the trenches only to replay their trauma in nightmares and flashbacks. They weren't chasing pleasure, they were recreating pain. This led him to a radical theory. Beneath our conscious desires for love, success, and safety, there's a counterforce, an instinct to return to the stillness of the inorganic, to unravel the complexity of life itself. He called it the urge to restore an earlier state of things. You don't need trenches to see this in action. Think about the last time you procrastinated. You had a deadline. You knew the consequences, yet you scrolled TikTok, reorganized your sock drawer, or fell into a Wikipedia hole about Antarctic fungi. Freud would say this isn't laziness. It's the death drive whispering, destroy the plan, return to chaos. Or consider binge watching. You're exhausted, but instead of sleeping, you devour 3 seasons of a show you don't even like. Why? Because the numbness of endless scrolling mimics the inorganic state Freud described, a void where ambition, anxiety, and desire dissolve. Modern neuroscience backs this up. Studies show that stress hormones like cortisol can be addictive. When we're chronically stressed, our brains rewire to crave the chaos they've grown used to. Ever met someone who thrives in crisis but falls apart when life is calm? That's the death drive in overdrive. Even social media algorithms exploit this. They feed us outrage porn, conspiracy theories, and drama, because nothing hooks the brain like a hit of cortisol. But here's where Freud's theory gets eerie. He believed the death drive isn't just about self-sabotage, it's about creation through destruction. Think of a forest fire. It raises everything in its path, but the ash fertilizes new growth. Your brain craves chaos for the same reason. Procrastination isn't just avoidance. It's a perverse incubator for last-minute genius. Fighting with a partner isn't just toxic. It's a desperate attempt to feel alive when numbness sets in. Even addiction follows this pattern. The alcoholic doesn't drink for pleasure. They drink to obliterate the self, hoping to emerge reborn. So how do we redirect this destructive energy? Freud's answer was sublimation, channeling dark impulses into socially acceptable forms. For him, this meant art, science, or philosophy. But let's get practical. Step 1. Name the drive. When you feel the pull toward chaos, don't shame yourself. Say, this is my death drive. It wants to burn everything down. What can I build from the ashes? Step 2. Create a chaos sandbox. Schedule time to indulge the urge safely. Write angry poetry. Break old dishes in the backyard. Play violent video games. Let the drive exhaust itself in a controlled space. Step 3. Turn sabotage into ritual. Procrastinating? Use the panic focus method. Set a timer for 10 minutes and vomit every half-formed idea onto the page. Fighting self-destructive urges? Channel that energy into a brutal workout or a cold plunge. Step 4. Befriend your shadow. Carl Jung, Freud's protege turned rival, believed integrating our dark side is key to wholeness. Ask, what is this chaos craving? Boredom, feeling, control? We see this in artists like Frida Kahlo, who transformed physical agony into surreal masterpieces, or David Bowie, who weaponized his self-destructive impulses to reinvent music. Chaos isn't the enemy, it's the raw material of reinvention. But beware, the death drive is seductive. Modern culture glorifies hustle porn and toxic productivity, masking self-destruction as ambition. Burnout isn't a badge of honor, it's the death drive winning. Freud died in 1939, despairing over humanity's march toward World War II. But his theory holds a key. The urge to destroy is also the urge to transform. Your brain craves chaos, not because you're broken, but because you're alive. The question isn't how to eliminate the void, it's how to dance with it. So the next time you're lured into a Netflix spiral or a midnight argument, pause. Ask, is this chaos consuming me, or can I consume it? If this video made you rethink your worst habits, hit like. If you're ready to turn chaos into creativity, hit subscribe. Drop a comment below. What's one destructive impulse you'll channel into art this week? Thanks for watching, and remember, even the darkest drives can light the way.